Good afternoon, everybody. Respected Chairperson, Professor Mishra, my learned co-speakers, Professor Sharma, Professor S.S. Nathawat. Definitely the other delegates and dignitaries present over here, together with my beloved students of this particular university. At the outset, once again, like Shivnan, I also offer my thanks to Professor Nathawat for giving me this graceful opportunity of being in front of all of you to deliver my presentation. In the practical modus operandi of the current day social life of mankind, externality is receiving a very high status. The external decors of life and life conditions have almost become the aspirational points on the part of average people to touch and feel the flavors of the materialistic life, feel contented and gradually happy there. On the other hand, the depth contents of the life fabrics are getting mushroomed in theoretical, philosophical notions of various kinds to draw people's attention to the point that internal contents of life are more important in order to reach to the podium of emotional stability and to earn a solid sense of well-being there. A bridge is needed between these two distinct endeavors in order to make people aware that real treasures of life are lying in the internal experiential contents at the boundary of self-actualization. Till date, the mass of the society is totally unaware of it and jostling with different modes to satisfy their desires at the personal level. In the process, the quantum of morality is getting reduced, denial and deceptions are getting generalized, there are negations towards positivity, and obviously the decreased morality is getting evident in frequent inauthentic behavior. From scientific as well as layman's perspective, I think it is high time that we should have a call to imbibe authenticity in our behavior pattern to enjoy an enriched life with this vital energy. Authenticity is the behavioral feature, root feature of positive humanistic psychology in the notional fold of positivism. To connect this experiential motive, the relevant theories need a review along with the concept of authenticity. And here is my presentation entitled Authenticity, the indispensable motive in the fabrics of existential, humanistic, positive psychology and positivism. The search for identity requires self-knowledge. A genuine discomfort in the area of identity crisis is necessary for initiating the quest for authenticity. However, defense mechanisms often keep our identity anxiety at bay, and the social pressures of conformity and enculturation provides an easy escape for this existential quest. Dehumanization in a competitive materialistic society further narrows people's vision to earthly gains. This creates a confusion in self-identity in the larger schema of life. At this juncture, the quest for authenticity remains a challenging and pertinent task in the consumer culture. Authenticity is basically the attitude in which I engage in my projects as my own, owning my own activities and decisions. The norm of authenticity refers to a kind of transparency with regard to my situation, a recognition that I am a being who can be responsible for who I am. In choosing in light of this norm, I seek to recover myself from alienation, from any absorption in the anonymous oneself that characterizes me in my everyday engagement in the world with others. Authenticity thus indicates a certain kind of integrity, not that of a pre-given whole, an identity waiting to be discovered within myself. This notion is also taken a step further, arguing that the measure of an authentic life lies in the integrity of a narrative, that to be a self is to constitute a story of my own, to be the author of oneself as a unique individual. On the other hand, inauthenticity or inauthentic life would be one without such integrity, one in which I allow my life story to be dictated by the world, by others. Thus, authenticity defines a condition of self-making. To be authentic can also be thought of a way of being autonomous. Existentialism's focus on authenticity leads to a distinctive stance toward ethics and value theory. Generally, the possibility of authenticity is a mark of mind freedom, and it is through freedom that existentialism approaches questions of value to many of its most recognizable doctrines. In existentialism, there is the concept of freedom, the responsibility, and the moment these two things are joined within oneself, the integrity results in the form of authentic behavior. In fact, there are no shortcuts to authenticity. Its attainment entails risks, setbacks, and suffering, especially when it is contrary to social norms. In many instances, the quest for authenticity means persecution and death, because those who dare to march to a different drum and challenge the status quo are likely to be maligned, marginalized, and even martyred. From an existential perspective, authentic happiness flows from the authentic mode of living. Albert Camus' rhetorical question is there, but what is happiness except the simple harmony between a man and the life he leads? Schoonmaker comments, existentialist Camus gets to the heart of happiness, and when he equates it with the harmony of living. According to Schoonmaker, this harmony can be achieved not just by doing what one is best at, but also by living like human beings who need social connection and, of course, spirituality. From an existential perspective then, human beings have a tendency to try and hide from the reality of their existence and ultimately pay a heavy price for such self-deception. In it, since we are not engaging with life as it really is, we are less capable of meeting the challenges and givens that confront everybody. The net result alters the existential anxiety and guilt in neurotic anxiety and guilt form. Hence, existentialists have emphasized a willingness to stand naked in the storm of life. This attitudinal component at the personal level is the concern point of humanistic and positive psychology, and at the social level, the issue with positivism. Existentialism is concerned with ontological issues of human existence, such as freedom, responsibility, authenticity, as I have mentioned. Even though human existence is devoid of ultimate meaning, which we need to draw for us, individuals can create meaning and live authentically through the choices they make. To start, freedom is the fountain of hope, the foundation of all human values. Freedom, not biology, is man's destiny. Through the exercise of freedom, we can transcend our genes, our past history, and the environment. Our capacity to choose how we exist determines what kind of people we will become. Thus the existential dictum by Sartre. From that, there develops transcendence. Transcendence thus entails more than imagination and creative symbolism. It involves making courageous choices, designing one's own world, and taking actions to fulfill one's full potentiality. The roots of existential humanistic orientations proving the importance of authenticity are of three types: the philosophical root, psychological, and humanistic psychology. At the philosophical root level, bearing a clear mark of Husserl's influence, Heidegger's philosophy of existence is sometimes characterized as existential phenomenological, with his core concept being in the world, that we exist in this world physically. The concept holds that the world changes as the person's ideas about it change, phenomenology. The person and the human world are one because they cannot exist apart from each other. In the psychological route, Binswanger believes that the truth about human existence cannot be acquired through experimentation and acquired through experimentation and intellectual exercises. It only can be revealed through the phenomenological methods of describing lived experiences. The concept of being in the world can be understood as person in the context of biological, social, psychological and spiritual world, Umwelt, Mitwelt, Gegenwelt and Overwelt. The experience of being in the world points to the experience of non-being or nothingness, nothingness we bring with our birth. The dread of nothingness is one of the existential givens. To choose the possibilities for change is to live an authentic life and become fully human. However, authenticity does not automatically mean self-actualization, because the project of becoming authentic is fraught with multiple difficulties. In fact, developing authenticity and reach to the level of transcendence will shred off this self-actualization for us. Van Dreuzen's approach to existential therapy is to enable people to become more authentic, broaden their understanding of themselves and their future, and create something worth living in the present. These therapeutic goals are achieved through clarifying the client's assumptions, values, and worldviews, exploring what is meaningful to them, and empowering them to confront existential givens and personal limitations with honesty and authenticity. This is humanistic approach. Jill's assumptions from the healthy personality development requires confronting and accepting negative existential givens. There will be so many inadequacies, inadequate points in our personality. Living with conflicts and limitations, the realistic molestations in life, and affirming possibilities of authentic living and personal growth. Within humanistic psychology, the roots of this authenticity is like being humanistic. Carl Rogers is also expected as existential because of his belief in personal dignity and human potential for growth. He has his focus on the importance of freedom, responsibility, and authenticity. Along with Carl Jung and Maslow, Rogers believes in the absence of external force, individuals would choose to be healthy, to be independent, and to further the optimal development for himself. The individual as organized whole reacts to reality as experienced and perceived by himself. Every organism has the basic actualizing tendency to strive to meet all his needs and enhance the experiencing organism. The best way to understand behavior is from the internal frame of reference of the individual himself. To him, healthy personality, to him means Rogers, healthy personality develops where there is congruence between their actual sense of who they are and who they feel they should be. This is essentially the existential concept of being an authentic person. Existential anxiety arises when individuals do not accept themselves the way they are and pretend to be someone else in order to conform to other people's expectations. Like, in order to receive parental approval, children try to please them and be like them rather than being their own self. Rogers believes that people are naturally rational and responsible, and they are capable of evaluating the outer and inner situation, understanding herself or himself in its context, making constructive choices as to the next steps in life and acting on those choices. Those who trust in their organizing, valuing process become fully functioning because their self-concept would be congruent with their experience based on innate evaluations. The fully functioning individuals represent mental health, mature personality, and self-actualization because they are free from defenses, open to new experiences, and able to live authentically. They also express their feelings freely, accept their own weaknesses, act independently, and live the good life thus having the contents of positive psychology there. Rogers' message on the need to treat people with respect and dignity and to create a healthy environment is much needed in the present climate of ruthless competition, brutal conflicts, and unethical manifestations of people as instruments. However, in today's culture, with daily news on corporate scandals, cutthroat competitions, and widespread violence and terror, the genuine queries are: how could people born with good nature and growth orientation be so mean and destructive? How many people are truly trustworthy? Where do we locate fully functioning individuals? Who are they? If the fingers are pointed to society and culture, for all our ill and personal problems, solutions will not be available. As societies consisted of people, the query arises: what makes them create a toxic culture of dehumanization and oppression? To answer these queries, a link must be established between the people and their society to earn a healthy living in the socio-existential content. To cater to this need, we need to delve into the philosophical fold of positivism. Positivism is the theory that genuine authentic knowledge is acquired by science and that metaphysical speculation has no validity. In the original Comtean usage, the term positivism roughly meant the use of scientific methods to uncover the laws and according to which both physical and human events occur, while sociology was the overarching science that would synthesize all such knowledge for the betterment of society. Hence, in short, positivism is a way of understanding based on science. People don't rely on the faith of God, but instead on the science behind humanity. Basically, positivism is a philosophy of science based on the view that in the social as well as natural sciences, data derived from sensory experience and logical mathematical treatment of such data are together the exclusive source of all authentic knowledge. Obtaining and verifying data that can be received from the senses is known as empirical evidence. In Comtean usage, it is the philosophy of human intellectual development that culminated in science. According to Comte, society undergoes three different phases in its quest for the truth: theological, metaphysical, and positive phases. The positive phase has more relevance here. In the final stage of the trilogy of Comte's universal law is the scientific or positive state. The central idea in this phase is that the idea that individual rights are more important than the rule of any one person. Comte, innately different from the rest, said there is no higher power governing the masses and the intrigue of any one person than the idea that he can achieve principle in positivism that connects humanistic orientations in life, that is expected to bring positive traits in action patterns that can earn health concept, well-being, and happiness. Humanistic psychology and positive psychology blend a lot. In this context, Wong has called for a century of meaning, for a paradigm shift from behavior to meaning as the mission of mainstream psychology. It calls for a bold vision of creating a culture that meets people's needs for meaning and spirituality. Humanistic psychology and positive psychology blend with positivism at this point. These areas of meaning research illustrate how this existential, humanistic, and positive psychology, in tune with positivism perspective, can fundamentally change mainstream psychology and bring out the issue of authenticity as behavioral trait to have a fulfilled life pattern. The three contents are there in this: meaning-oriented research methodology, meaning mindset, and the dual system model. Meaning-oriented research methodology will show that quantitative data are often meaningless without qualitative research on the phenomenological experiences of participants in the studies. Meaning mindset, meaning as the ultimate concern, contributes to eudaimonia. Many speakers have referred to this. This is the character strength and compassion being the chief feature of authentic individual. We can defer our happiness for a better purpose in life. The dual system model, research on the interactions between avoidance and approach systems will show that balance between negative and positive forces provides a roadmap to achieve high levels of well-being and social harmony as byproducts of practical authenticity. In fact, in positive psychology perspective, meaning is said to be highly culture dependent. Many instances of sustaining meaning emerge from engagement with or reinterpreting cultural rituals, myths, and identification. As such, any attempt to separate positive from the negative, such as suffering, is inauthentic. Many psychologists, unhappy with the disease model that drives much of psychology, feel that central concerns of psychology should include positive phenomena such as love, courage, happiness in a person to feel authentic, as well as to reflect these features regarding others to create an ambience of authenticity in the culture. In Seligman's term, psychology is not just study of weakness and damage, it should also be the study of strength and virtue. Treatment is just not fixing what is broken, it is nurturing what is best within ourselves. Having these positive contents in humanistic positive psychology, existential phenomenological world initiates the urge to make people aware of authenticity as character trait and establishes its highest utility in achieving a healthy, happy, meaningful and flourished life in the abyss of externality. In the words of Frankl, it can be said that an authentic man is capable of changing the world for the better, if possible, and of changing himself for the betterment, if necessary. Therefore, life is potentially meaningful under any conditions, be they pleasurable or miserable. Authenticity is thus being rooted in self-anchor. The clear depth of one's inner self gives rise to vitality in energy terms and orients one to positivistic exuberance in life. The flavor of such personality seems to have a combined effect of humanistic, positivistic, positive enamor that radiates in itself confidence in existential mode. The experiential dream of such individuals invite not only personal growth but generativistic wisdom in social processes. Hence, the aim and aspirations of these psycho-philosophical parlance is to call for authenticity in realization and practice. Individual fervors will definitely improve, and so is the ambience of the world. Hence, just to conclude, I would like to quote Viktor Frankl. The impact of authenticity thus resonates in Frankl's words as, I have seen the meaning of my life in helping others to see in their lives a meaning. Let us make it a hymn in chorus to establish the utility of authenticity in our behavior. Thank you.